Donald Trump fell asleep apparently multiple times yesterday during the Republican National Convention. It was day 3. Yesterday included such luminaries of the MAGA movement as Donald Trump's own son, Donald Trump Jr., and Donald Trump's vice presidential running mate, nearly 40 years his junior, JD Vance, a veritable doormat for Trump to walk all over. Here is Trump starting to do the blinking where you're trying to stay awake, but it's getting tough as JD Vance is delivering an absolutely mind-numbingly boring speech.
Done, ladies and gentlemen, catering to Wall Street will commit to the working man.
There goes Trump. There goes Trump struggling to stay awake. And then here is Trump apparently asleep during Don Jr.'s speech, and similar moments during which he appeared to be completely asleep during JD Vance's speech. Now, I'll be very honest with you. I kind of felt the same way in the sense that JD Vance's speech was completely vapid, boring, meaningless in every way. The crowd was very much not engaged with the subject matter. And it was really one of these, I'm just kind of here to repeat the things that Donald Trump has come up with and loves to say, but I'm not expressing anything new whatsoever in any way. Here's one really, really strange moment from JD Vance's speech that I want to play for you, during which he talked about his grandmother having 19 guns.
Now, my mamaw died shortly before I left for Iraq in 2005. And when we went through her things, we found 19 loaded handguns. They were...
They just shot Trump, as they love to say. They, and yet the crowd loves 19 loaded handguns.
Now, the thing is, they were stashed all over her house, under her bed, in her closet, in the silverware drawer.
Right.
And we wondered what was going on, and it occurred to us that towards the end of her life, Mamaw couldn't get around so well. And so this frail old woman made sure that no matter where she was within arm's length of whatever she needed to.
All right, so I think you get the point here. Needed 19 guns in order to have access to them at any point in time. And then JD Vance took it upon himself during the speech to start attacking migrants. And the crowd, bloodthirsty as always, starts chanting, "Send them back."
Lack of good jobs, of course, led to stagnant wages. And then the Democrats flooded this country with millions of illegal aliens.
Just a reminder, the idea that Democrats did anything is, of course, not based in any reality.
So citizens had to compete with people who shouldn't even be here for precious housing. Joe Biden's inflation crisis, my friends, is really an affordability crisis.
And remember, of course, that Joe Biden's inflation crisis, in reality, when you look at the data, is overseeing the economy that has had the lowest inflation rate in the post-COVID recovery era of all Western nations. In other words, if this is Biden's problem, Biden has somehow figured out a way to keep inflation lower here than in any of our cohorts among what are typically called the OECD or Western wealthier developed nations. Okay, last thing here. Here's more of Trump struggling to stay awake while JD Vance speaks.
Mr. President, I will never take for granted the trust you have put in me. And what an honor it is to help achieve the extraordinary vision that you have for this country.
All right. I want to say one other thing about the Trump falling asleep, okay? If Biden did this, if Biden fell asleep in this way while his son is speaking, while Kamala Harris is speaking, you would see 1,000 articles, 1,500 cable news segments, doctors analyzing what might be going on, headlines of Biden falling asleep at DNC, all of this stuff. There's just no stories about it when it comes to Trump. And this is the second night in a row of the RNC that he appears to fall asleep. There was one night where it was reported he fell asleep, but it was clear that everybody was kind of bowing their heads in prayer because they have a lot of prayer at the RNC. I think that was not an accurate representation. It didn't seem like Trump was sleeping then. It seemed like Trump fell asleep multiple times yesterday, and not a single serious exploration of this from the same corporate media that did 2 weeks on Joe Biden's debate performance. So certainly a contrast in coverage. Well, with the arrival of the warmer weather, many of us are heading outdoors more and more and really trying to get that summer fitness going. If you're looking for just a simple, science-based, straightforward workout program with real results, check out Alpha Progression. Alpha Progression stands out for its remarkable value, user-friendly design, total customization based on individual needs. It has a stellar 4.9 star rating in both the Apple and Google App Stores. It's supported by tens of thousands of positive reviews, and it's twice been recognized as Apple's App of the Day. Focused solely on maximizing muscle gain, Alpha Progression is perfect for everybody from beginners to seasoned lifters looking to achieve exactly that. Each workout plan is uniquely crafted to match your personal fitness goals, and it was developed over years by veteran bodybuilders. So the app will provide those very same principles and tailored advice as a personal trainer, but at a fraction of the cost. With Alpha Progression, you can achieve the results you want without breaking the bank. We are partnering with Alpha Progression to give you 20% off your first year when you sign up for an annual plan, or 20% off your first month if you sign up for monthly. The link is in the description.